What is up, my ninjas? Shinobi here, and today I have a video for you guys that is going to be covering 3 different builds you can do for the Uliana's Monk in Season 4. I'm getting a lot of questions about the Monk because it's one of the most popular classes in Season 4 right now, and not a lot of people actually spent some time on the PTR. I, however, did spend a lot of time on the PTR, so I figured, you know, if you guys don't know some of this information already, then I'll make a video for you to clear some things up for you, maybe give you some tips, and kind of tell you my perspective and what I think of these types of different ways of playing the character. Now, I originally made this Monk because it was just going to be just a speed farming character that I just farm DBs and keystones with, as I talked about in my previous video, you know, giving you guys some tips on gearing up quickly and everything like that. So if you haven't checked that out, I'll have an annotation on the screen for that. But that was the main reason why I made this character, but I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I've been messing around with a lot of things, and you know, I've been doing like the standardized builds for the Ulianas. You have the 3 builds we're going to talk about here are the Broken Promises build, the crit build, and with the Convention of Elements, and the final one, which is the Speed Farm build, and give you a little bit of my thoughts and tips about all of that stuff. So hopefully this stuff does help you out, guys. I know a lot of people have questions about the Monk and everything, and I'm going to be doing a lot more testing and stuff for that to let you guys know. So if this video does help you out and maybe help one of your friends out that has some questions about the Monk and wants to learn a little bit more and get, you know, one of these builds or something like that, send it off to there, share it with them, like the video, comment, all that kind of stuff. It does go a long way, and that way we can help people out. That's the whole purpose of making these videos. So first off, I want to talk about the Broken Promises Monk. Now, this is one that's, you know, become very popular. A lot of people have been doing it, and it's very strong and one of my favorite ways of playing the Monk, period. So what does that consist of? Well, all 3 of these specs that I'm telling you about are going to consist of most of this gear that you're looking at on my character right now. So of course you're going to want the 6-piece Uliana. So you got the boots, the pants, the chest, the gloves, the shoulders, and the helm. Now the way that we're going to do this gear is going to be a little bit different, though. You're going to want different rolls on your gear, and that's something I think we definitely really need to talk about. So let's take a look at just this first one first, which is the Broken Promises setup here. So what that is the idea behind it is you want no crit on your gear. Now I have 5% because that's the base crit chance that all characters get, at least for the Monk anyways, from my knowledge. So as you can see, if I'm just going to run through the gear, I'm going to tell you some of the priority stats that you're going to want for this and why it is that you're going to go no crit and why that's actually a good thing. So starting off with the shoulders here, I have Dex, Vitality, Resist All, and Cooldown. Very good. You could also have, instead of the Resist All, you could have Resist in the secondary possibly, and then maybe get like Life Regen or something like that that'll help you out there. You don't want 7-sided strike damage. That's something that a lot of people have asked me. It's not very good at all. You want Exploding Palm damage, which we'll talk more about that. So getting cooldown there. Getting cooldown is very, very important for this character, and very important for all 3 of the roles, actually, that I'm going to talk about here. Now moving on to the helm. Dex, Vitality, Exploding Palm, 15% there. It would have been great to get Resist in the secondary, but this isn't Ancient, so you know, because you're getting the more higher base stats, it makes sense to use this over one that maybe had Resist in the secondary or something like that. So you'd like to have that, but this one's Ancient, so that's what I'm going with here. Then we have the Uliana's chest piece, which you want Dex, Vitality, reduced elite damage, resist in the secondary, and getting like things like Life After Kill is really nice. And this is an Ancient item. This is like one of the best chest pieces that I've seen so far that I found. I mean, it's the best one that I found, obviously, but I mean, it just like it rolled so well in so many different ways. Then moving on to the pants here, Dex, Vitality. I did get Resist All here. You'd want to maybe get Life Regen on there instead of the Resist All, and then you have Resist in the secondary. And I'll talk about why Resist in the secondary is a good thing later on. And then the final piece here, which is the boots. So you have Dex, Vitality, Life Regen, Exploding Palm, and Resist in the secondary. So this is what I'm talking about here. This is what the item's supposed to look like as far as how it goes. So I just would want this item to be Ancient. And when it's Ancient, you get more of these stats, you know, Dex, Vitality, Life Regen, and the Resistance. You're going to get more of that. So it's going to be even better. Your character's going to be much stronger, better survivability. And going with the Broken Promises version does give you more survivability, and we'll talk about that a little bit when I get into the next build here. So let's take a look at the rest of the piece of gear. So you have Hellfire Amulet, so obviously you're not going to want crit chance on here. You're going to get cold, dex, and you're going to get your crit damage and a socket. So the idea is that, I mean, if you got this Ancient, that'd be nice because you get more dex on it. Getting a better secondary would have been awesome, but that's alright. We did get Harmony, which is good. It's one of the passives that you're going to use, so it frees you up to use a 5th passive, any passive you'd like to choose, and I'll talk about, you know, which ones I did choose here. And then we have the Gundo gear, so you want cold, dex, vitality, regen life, and also getting cold in a secondary right there, resistance. Now it is okay to get resist all on some of this gear, but you're going to lose out on regen life if you do that. You're going to be a little bit more tanky, but you're not going to regen as much. So it does cause a factor when you get to the really high tiers, which this character so far is 63 plus right now that I'm doing in the tiers. And I can go much higher than what I already can. So then we have the belt, which is also very important, Binding on the Lost. Dex, vitality, life percent, regen, and then resist in the secondary. And this one's a 3.4, so it goes up to 3.5. So, you know, getting this to 3.5 is pretty important, but 3.4 is really good too. So, and what this is a new item that we have here. Each hit with 7-sided strike grants 3.4% damage reduction for 7 seconds. And you're going to get a lot of hits with your 7-sided strike. It's going to stack 14 times, which is going to give you a lot of reduction. Was that like 46% or something like that? I don't know. Something like that. Then we have Focus and Restraint here. So these rolls are not that great on here. I did get the average damage rolls on them, which is okay. I'm just missing cooldown on this item right here. So ideally, you'd want to go for things like the average roll is okay, but you want to get cooldown on anywhere that you possibly can. So these rolls are okay though. And then using the final items here. We have Lion's Claw. This one is Ancient. I got it from upgrading in the cube. This one is going to give you your 7-sided strike performs an additional 7 strikes, so that's why you're going to get 14, and it's going to help with everything. You get a lot more burst damage, a lot more single target damage, a lot more, ability to blow up your exploding palms, and that's what it's all about. That's all the 7-sided strike is for single target and for blowing up your exploding palms, so that way you just do massive damage to a big group of monsters. And it's very important to stack those monsters up in a big group and blow them up at once instead of killing 3 different smaller packs. You want to bring all those packs together, then blow them up at the same time. It's a lot more efficient that way, and hopefully that tip will help you guys out. Now the Fist of Az is another thing that's very important. Very hard to get a very good roll on this. Exploding Palm can go up to 100% damage there, additional damage, and starts at 75%. So I got pretty lucky here getting cooldown here and getting 92%, getting this Ancient quite good. Like I said, you want to get cooldown as anywhere you can. Right now I'm sitting around 60% cooldown, and that's without my Gogok going off when I'm actually killing stuff. So I have about a 3 to 4 second downtime for my Epiphany, but if I time my 7-sided strike correctly, you don't take damage while you're in the 7-sided strike. So I'm going to be, it's enough time. As soon as I come back out, I pop Epiphany again. That can be really good, but you ideally want to have permanent Epiphany. It's going to give you, especially when you get up to the higher greater rifts, it's not a really big deal when you get to like 60, 61 area, but when you're getting past that, it starts to become a really big deal. So getting the most cooldown you possibly can is very important. So let's go ahead and take a look at the cube here. So for this setup, this is the Broken Promises setup, as I told you guys. So we are using the item right here. You can see Broken Promise. After 5 consecutive non-critical hits, your chance to critically hit is increased by 100% for 3 seconds. So you're going to crit all the time, pretty much, because you don't have any crit on your gear. This is going to enable you to crit all the time and do really high damage, very sustainable damage, and that's what separates the Broken Promises build behind the Convention of Elements build, which is more of a burst damage build, whereas this one's more of a sustained damage over time, which both can be very equally good. They're both equally good on the Greater Rift leaderboards right now as far as rankings go, but I will talk about that in just a second. So Using Flow of Eternity here, reduce the cooldown of 7-sided strike by 60%. Very important to have that in your cube because you want to get that max amount on it. So very, very important. And then you have your Spirit Guards, which is your Spirit Generators. Reduce your damage taken by 40% for 3 seconds, giving you a lot of damage reduction. Very awesome. You're going to pretty much fly up to things. If I show you a little demonstration, look at my toughness right now. I'm not actually even fighting things or anything like that. So let me just show you a quick demonstration of what your all these things that are stacking that are going to give you more toughness, just what they look like as far as the numbers go. It is pretty crazy. So let's go ahead. So we're going to go over here. We pretty much pop. I'm at 350 million toughness right now, and it gets even crazier too. Like when you're doing your greater rifts, I get up to 500 million toughness in that area. So it really starts to get up there, and very, very powerful. So alright, just wanted to show you a quick demonstration of that. Let's go ahead and head back to town. Alright, we're back in town now, and I'm going to talk about the Convention of Elements version. This is a very short version, doesn't really require a lot of information, but the only difference between this build that I just showed you and the Convention of Elements build is that instead of getting no crit on your gear, you're going to get crit on your gear, and you're going to use the Convention of Elements in your cube. So I'll show you that for those of you that don't know. You can get 200% increased damage with a single element for 4 seconds. So that's kind of the idea behind it. So what you're going to do is you're going to miss a lot of those extra properties that you get. So you're not really going to have the crit chance on your gear. So pretty much what's going to happen is before you were placing the crit chance, and you get like extra cooldown, extra vitality, extra life regen, sometimes extra resist, things like that, right? So you're able to get those extra things because you didn't run crit on your gear. But now that you're running crit, you're going to be a lot squishier. You're gonna have, like I said, you're gonna have less cooldown. You're gonna have less life regen. You're gonna have less resist. You're gonna have less life per second. But you will get a more bursty character, a character that when you roll over to that element, you're going to do more damage. On a Rift Guardian, if you had a power pylon, you roll over to your element and you just freaking just crazy fast with your 7-sided strike. You're just chewing that Rift Guardian down. So definitely awesome burst potential there for that version. I don't have any gameplay footage to show you for that, guys, but it plays pretty much the same. And I can show you, for instance, of some characters that are on the leaderboard, some people that are doing it. I believe that he's doing the Convention of Elements version right here, and you can see that it's pretty much the exact same, but he loses the vitality here, right? He loses in these other areas, so we go to some other areas with crits. So right here he lost. He got Flavor of Time, which is a good pickup there, definitely something pretty valuable. So here he lost some life regen, and you see what I'm talking about, right? So you do lose a little bit of stats here and there because you do need to pick up crit in certain areas, but it's not a huge difference, and that's why they're all pretty equal. There's probably a few other people here that are also using, there's the Broken Promises one, so you're seeing that people are pretty equal as far as up there. I'm on 63, I haven't really pushed in the past like a few days or so, but I mainly just do it for testing. I don't do it for, I want to get rank 1 right now. There's lots of time in this season that's going to come later on, but I don't even know if I'll push with the Monk later on. I just like to test it, and it's a fun class to play. So, but I am playing my Crusader as well. So that's pretty much those two, right? So let me go ahead and show you guys what the skills look like for the both of these, the Broken Promises and the Convention of Elements versions, the non-crit and the crit versions. So take a look at that right here. So there are a few different choices you can do for your primary. So it's really great to have this primary because you're going to be able to put on your exploding palms onto the monsters with your generators and then spread them as they blow up and everything because of Gundo gear. So you're going to be able to do that, but you want to have a spirit generator because also you have focus and restraint, right? So there are a couple choices you can do. I have been testing Foresight because I like it. Every third hit increases their damage from all attacks by 15% for 5 seconds. A lot of people use Wave 100 Fist with Assimilation. Now this does similar things, but I feel like Deadly Reach with Foresight is more solid and more stable, and you're playing a more solid and stable build. So in my opinion, it feels like it makes more sense to get that guaranteed 15% instead of sometimes getting 7, sometimes getting 10, sometimes getting 20. It can jump up, it can vary a lot depending on the monsters you're going against, depending on how often you're hitting and how well you know how to play the class. So, there is variation there. Like, is assimilation technically better? Yeah, it is, but sometimes it won't be, and that's the thing. So, but that's one thing you can do. There's another thing with crippling wave. I think you can do like breaking wave. You can get 10% additional for 3 seconds. Now this one doesn't actually put like a little tooltip down the bottom there, so I don't know if it stacks multiple times. It might. I haven't tested that, but as far as this one does stack though, assimilation stacks, and Deadly Reach doesn't, from what it looks like on paper. But you know, after more testing, I'll be able to find more information about that for you guys. Now you want to pick Exploding Palm and Pending Doom because you're going to go cold here, and you're going to want to, and this is for both of the specs, you're going to want to, you know, go cold because you want, when you're applying Exploding Palm, even though you're not applying it with the Exploding Palm itself, you're choosing which rune you're getting, right? You have to choose the rune, so that's why you're getting that. Then you have the 7-sided strike with sustained attack. Even though this is physical, and you might be thinking, why wouldn't I just go cold? That would get more damage, right? This one gives you a cooldown reduction, so sustained attack is really good. And that's all you need, right? Dashing strike with blinding speed is going to give you some dodge there to give you some protection. Then you have Epiphany, which is going to give you 50% damage reduction, and then also going to give you some spirit regen, which is helpful, especially when you're spamming a lot of your stuff very often. Then you have Mantra of Salvation, which is going to give you a lot of really awesome, cool stuff. You're going to get, you can read it all right there. It's really awesome. Now, because I am using Harmony, remember on my Hellfire Amulet, I am also going to I picked up Determination here. I like Determination because each enemy within 12 yards increases your damage by 4% up to a maximum of 20%. So it's a nice boost of 20% damage increase there. However, there are things that some of the people go like the Mythic Rhyme here. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this. This technically would be really good on the Rift Guardian. So, you know, a potential use for other builds. But I'm just not a huge fan of it. I do like Determination. It's more solid. Near-death experience because, you know, when you're doing those really high tiers, you're going to have trouble. You might take some damage, you might die or something like that. And you know, it's all RNG when it comes to the high grade rifts, right? But with near-death experience, you don't have to use this if you have like a lower character. Maybe you're doing like something else, like, you know, speed farming or something like that. Then Beacon of Yatar, you need the cooldown there, and then we have Guardian's Path, which is going to give you the dodge. So you get a crap ton of dodge. As you can see right now at this second, I have 57.7%, and if I pop that, and if I pop this, I go up to 75% almost. So that's quite a lot of dodge right there. Now let's go ahead and look at the final thing I wanted to talk about here real quick. You know, it's not something that we need to spend a lot of time on, but if you want it, you know, you were playing a monk, you want to farm some DBs, you want to farm some keystones, and you just wanted to do regular rifts very quickly, very efficiently. This is the setup that I like to go with. Some people do different variations, but I'll show you what the setup is. So what I do is I just change in my cube. I just go to the Ingeom, and then I switch here and go to the Madstone. Now, Madstone is going to give your 7-sided strike applies Exploding Palm, so you don't have to use those generators anymore. You can just literally fly through. It's a lot more efficient. Then you have Ingeom, which is going to, after killing an elite, reduce your cooldowns by 10 seconds for 15 seconds, which is really huge. Now, some people will wear the Ingeom on their character, right? And then they'll keep using Flow of Eternity because it does give you some cooldown. Now, I like going personally with this setup right here because what happens is you're going to it's going to take you a little bit longer on that first elite to kind of get going, but you're going to do more damage overall. So if you're trying to farm efficiently Torment 9 or Torment 10, you know, I feel like that's kind of a better way to go. It's a slower ramp up time, but when it gets going, it gets going. So and you're pretty much just killing elites as much as you can. Now, as far as people have asked me before, like, do you think you should be doing Torment 10 or Torment 9 or Torment 8 for farming Death's Breath? When I play solo, I feel like 9 is like the sweet spot for my gear, and I do have good gear. But Torment 8 might be, depending on your gear, Torment 8, I would say do Torment 8. If you have a pretty good gear, do Torment 8 for a long time, and then when you start getting really good gear, then, you know, you want to switch up to Torment 9. Stay away from Torment 10 unless maybe you're in a group. Torment 10 is great for farming DBs, but the problem is that it's A lot of the elites that you encounter have too much health, and you want to just one-shot everything. That's the point of it, right? So you just want to fly through, one-shot, Q, Q dash, just that's all you want to do is fly through. As you can see on the screen, some of the examples there. And instead of using the belt here, the Binding on the Lost, what I do is I throw on the Witching Hour to give you some more burst damage, and then you are losing the Spirit Guards, so you're a little bit squishier, right? But you're not going to be left-clicking really that much, so you don't have to really worry about using the Spirit Guards anyways. And then also maybe switching to something like Mantra Conviction with Overawe, or maybe Annihilation, or something like that to give you a little bit more movement speed, a little bit more burst, a little more damage, and help you out with farming with all that stuff. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's the 3 builds I wanted to talk about, and hopefully, hopefully you guys don't have any questions or anything like that. If you do, leave them in the comments down below. Look forward to seeing them, and thank you guys for all the support you guys have been giving me. You guys have been really awesome with my return to making videos on YouTube. I plan to be doing them more frequently. When you guys enjoy them, and you guys, you show me the love and support by watching them and by commenting and doing all the stuff that you guys do, it makes me want to do more. It gives me that drive to push more videos out and do a lot more cool stuff for you guys, and that's the whole point of it. Like I said earlier, is just helping you out and all that. So if you did make it to the end of this video, I definitely appreciate it, and you're a true ninja fan, ninja army guy, or guy or grill out there, and that's it for me today. I'll see you guys on my live stream, twitch.tv/Shinobi Live. You can also message me on Twitter, Facebook, things like that. A little bit easier for me to respond to people on Twitter, just for those of you that didn't know. All the stuff is down in the description below, and until next time, my name is Shinobi, and thanks for watching.